Parenting is full of moments where we just want things to go smoothly. We want our kids to brush their teeth, get dressed, do their homework, and maybe, just maybe, do it without an argument. So we offer something in exchange. If you eat your vegetables, I'll let you have ice cream. Finish your homework, and you can play on the iPad, clean your room, and I'll buy you a toy. It often works, at first, but over time, these deals shape how a child views responsibility and effort. I'm going to tell you a story. A friend of mine, a mother of 3, told me how her 6-year-old daughter refused to put her shoes on one morning. Then came the negotiation. Her daughter crossed her arms and said, "What will you give me if I do it?" It wasn't about not understanding the task. It was about expecting a transaction. That expectation had been built over time. Every time a cookie followed obedience or a toy followed a chore. Her daughter was learning that cooperation wasn't a value. It was a currency. Let's be real. Most of us do this at some point. We bribe our kids because we're exhausted, because we're late. We just need one thing to go right in a chaotic day. But what starts as an occasional shortcut can quickly become a routine. And that routine shapes how your child understands the world. There's a difference between motivation and manipulation. Rewards, when overused, become manipulation. Kids don't learn to value the behavior itself. They clean up for a prize, not because it's right. They help for screen time, not kindness. The lesson becomes, what do I get, instead of what kind of person do I want to be? Think about adults in the workplace. Imagine if every time you showed up to work on time, your boss handed you a gift card, free lunches, a bonus for doing the bare minimum. Now imagine what would happen when those rewards stopped. Would you still be motivated? Many wouldn't. And that's exactly what happens to kids. If they've been taught that doing the right thing only matters with a reward, they're less likely to make good choices on their own. Let's take a real-world example. Look at companies like Google or Patagonia. They reward initiative not with random prizes, but by building culture. They create intrinsic motivation by making people feel respected and connected. That's what we need to do at home too. We want our kids to feel like they're part of something meaningful, that their actions have meaning beyond stickers and snacks. Here's another thing I've noticed. When kids get used to being rewarded for everything, they resist doing anything without a payoff. You ask them to help unload groceries, and they say no. Not because it's hard or they're tired, but because they're thinking, what's in it for me? Over time, this mentality affects family life, friendships, school performance, and response to authority. One mom told me about her teenage son. She'd been using rewards since he was little. Money for grades, extra phone time for chores, gift cards for good behavior. In high school, he did the bare minimum unless rewarded. His motivation tanked. He wasn't rude, but always bargaining. How much for an A? Can I skip chores if I'm tired? She realized too late she'd trained him to value transactions, not tasks. If you've ever had a moment where your child asked, "What do I get?" this message is for you. Before we continue, let's pause for a second. If this video speaks to you and you find these insights helpful, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay connected and never miss content that helps you grow as a parent. Thank you for being part of this space. Now let's come back to what happens inside your child when everything becomes a deal. It's not just about entitlement, it's about external dependence. They stop trusting their own internal compass. They stop doing things because they believe they should. When they face decisions in school or with friends, they won't have the inner strength to make the right call. That strength comes from consistent guidance, honest conversations, and expectations based on respect. One of the best things you can teach your child is that some things are done simply because they're part of being responsible. We say please and thank you. We help when someone falls. We clean up our mess, not for candy or applause, but because it's the right thing to do. We'll talk more in the next part of this video about motivating your child without bribes or constant praise. But for now, think about this. What values are your rewards reinforcing? Building character or just creating short-term obedience? Let's raise kids who do the right thing when no one's looking, who understand effort matters even when there's no prize. Let's raise kids who know that doing well is its own reward. And we'll get there together. In the first part, we unpacked what can go wrong when parenting turns into a reward system. Now let's talk about what to do instead. It's easy to point out the problem, but what matters is how we shift our approach to work for everyday life. The goal isn't to make your home a boot camp. It's not about saying no to everything or removing all fun. It's about teaching your child that effort, character, and cooperation have value. Let's start with something simple but powerful: language. The way we talk to our children affects how they understand their behavior. Imagine your child takes their plate to the sink. Instead of saying, "Good job, here's a sticker," say, "Thanks for being helpful." That shift shows the action itself mattered. Being helpful is worth being proud of, not something that needs a prize. When we shift from praise for outcome to recognition of values, their mindset changes. They associate good behavior with being a good person, not with getting a cookie. Amazon doesn't reward employees for every email or showing up on time. They build systems of accountability and a culture of consistency. In parenting, consistency is your best friend. Real motivation doesn't come from treats. It comes from children feeling competent and connected. Celebrate their success, but focus on their hard work, choices, and effort. One dad I spoke to gave his son candy for finishing a book. His son read often, but only for the reward. When the candy stopped, so did the reading. The father changed his approach. Instead of a prize, he started conversations about the books. He asked questions, showed interest, and read the same stories. Without realizing it, he created a connection. Soon, his son read not for a treat, but because it was meaningful. Connection creates motivation. It's not about a toy. It's about knowing that what they're doing matters, that it has purpose, that they're seen, and that's something you can't replace with a sticker chart. Let's talk about natural consequences, one of the most effective tools a parent has, but one of the least used. If your child refuses their jacket, let them feel cold. If they forget lunch, let them experience hunger. That's not harsh. That's real. Because life works that way. Consequences exist. We don't want to shield our kids from discomfort. We want them to understand actions have outcomes, not punishments, outcomes. When they feel consequences early, in safe environments, they learn responsibility faster and more meaningfully. A teacher told me about a student who refused to bring his homework. His parents used rewards and punishments. If he brought it, he'd get candy. If he didn't, no screen time. The cycle continued and nothing changed. Finally, the teacher had a calm talk with him about trust. She said, "When you bring your homework, I can count on you. And when people count on you, they give you more chances in life." He started turning in his work, not for candy, but because he realized it affected how others saw him. That's intrinsic motivation. That's what lasts. Let's be honest, it takes time. Changing behavior won't happen overnight. If your child asks, "What do I get?" don't panic. Just smile and say, "You get to feel proud," or "You get to help out." It might sound cheesy. They might roll their eyes, but over time, they'll understand. Offer encouragement instead of rewards. There's a big difference between encouragement and praise. Praise focuses on outcomes. Great job getting an A. Encouragement focuses on effort. I saw how hard you studied. One leads to performance-based identity. The other builds a work ethic. Even companies know this. Patagonia, for example, creates a workplace culture based on shared purpose. They don't pay more for recycling or volunteering. They value those things. That's how you build a lifestyle. That's how you shape character. If you want your child to learn responsibility, give them responsibility. Even young kids can contribute. Ask them to help with dinner because they're part of the family. Let them fold laundry, walk the dog, or water plants. Remind them, this is what we do. We take care of our space. We help each other. When they resist, don't turn to bribery. Try empathy first. I know you don't feel like doing this. I get that. But sometimes we do things even when we don't feel like it, because it helps others and keeps things going. That's a life skill. They won't learn it through candy or cash. Instead of a reward, share appreciation. Thanks for your help today. You made things easier for us. A child who feels appreciated becomes an adult who values their role. We need to teach them self-reflection. If your child did something kind, ask them, "How did that feel?" Or, "What did you notice when you helped your friend?" Encourage them to notice how good actions feel. That's how you plant the seed of internal rewards. That's how you build lasting habits. And one more thing, don't beat yourself up. If you've used rewards in the past, welcome to the club. Most parents have. Today can be the start of something better. It's never too late to change how we parent. Kids are more flexible than we think. Consistency, patience, and modeling values matter most. Before we move into the final part of this series, where we'll explore how to correct course if your child is reward dependent, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. That way, you won't miss the rest of this conversation. We're building better families together, one video at a time. So far, we've explored the danger of reward-based parenting and how to build internal motivation through connection and responsibility. Now, we'll reset expectations in homes where bribes are the norm and regain healthy authority without shouting or bribing. See you there. So you've been offering rewards for cooperation, maybe a lot of them. Maybe it started small, like a lollipop for staying quiet during a phone call. And now it feels like every request comes with negotiation. If I clean my room, can I get Roblox time? Will I get McDonald's if I behave at the dentist? Many parents fall into this pattern, but it's never too late to reset. You don't need to turn your home upside down to make lasting changes. Let's start with this truth. Kids can unlearn entitlement and relearn responsibility. But that happens when you, as the parent, become clear, calm, and consistent. Not louder, not more threatening, just steady. The first step is to acknowledge the shift out loud. Let your child know what's changing. Sit down together and say, "I've been giving rewards for things that are just part of being in a family. From now on, we're going to do things differently." That honesty does two things. It models accountability and gives them context. When you stop offering rewards, they'll know why. You're inviting them into a better way of doing things. Some kids will push back, especially if they're used to earning something every time they cooperate. That's normal. They might throw a tantrum, refuse to help, or test your limits. Hold the line with calm certainty. Say things like, "I understand you're upset, but brushing your teeth is about taking care of our bodies. Not because we get rewards," or "helping clean up is part of being in our home." Let me tell you about a dad I met at a parenting workshop. He gave his daughter $5 for every A on her spelling test. At first it seemed harmless, encouraging even. But soon she began saying, "If I don't get money, why should I try?" Or worse, she'd bargain, "If I get all A's, can I get a new video game?" Her motivation became tied to the prize, not the effort or pride in learning. So he stopped the payments. She was angry. He explained that learning was about growth, not payment. It took a few weeks and tears, but she started putting in effort again. She'd ask more questions and bring books to practice, not for cash, but for getting better. That pride came back with space to grow. That's what happens when you remove constant external rewards. You give internal motivation a real chance to breathe and grow. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean you can't celebrate success. Recognition matters. But there's a difference between saying, "I'm proud of how hard you worked, and here's a cookie for doing your homework." One builds identity, the other builds a transaction. If your child expects rewards for everything, start by slowly reducing them instead of stopping all at once. If you've been giving a reward every time, try shifting to every third time, then once a week, then not at all. Replace the reward with something more meaningful, like shared time, conversation, or appreciation. Here's a helpful technique, the when-then approach. Instead of saying, if you do your homework, say, when your homework is done, you can play. This shift removes the bargaining tone and makes the task routine. It's not a bribe, it's a structure. Use visual routines for younger kids. A simple chart on the wall shows morning or bedtime tasks. Brush teeth, pack bag, put on shoes. No gold stars needed, just clarity and consistency. When they follow through, offer your presence. I noticed you got ready without reminding. That shows responsibility. Nice work. As children grow older, your influence will matter less in volume and more in tone. Laying this foundation early is key. But if your child is already a tween or teenager, it's not too late. Respect and responsibility are still within reach. It just takes conversation. Talk to them like young adults. Ask, what kind of person do you want to be? What values matter to you? Do you want to be the kind of friend, student, sibling who shows up? Let them speak. Guide without judgment. Reflect what they say back to them. Help them build self-ownership. One father I know had a teenage son who only cleaned his room when threatened. After years of nagging, he tried something new. He said, "I'm not going to argue about this anymore. Your room is your space. But when you don't take care of it, it affects how you feel and how others respond to you. I trust you to decide how you want to live." His son didn't change overnight, but eventually the room stayed clean, not from pressure but pride. That's the shift we're aiming for. Sometimes you can still surprise your child. A milkshake after a great week. A small treat after a hard day. Make sure it's a gesture, not a condition. A celebration, not a bargain. This connects to emotional health. Kids who always need a prize can become adults needing constant validation. They struggle with self-worth. They tie their value to what they get, not who they are. Kids with consistent, calm guidance and clear expectations grow up with inner stability. They learn to keep promises, follow through, and feel proud without always needing applause. Think of someone like Simone Biles. Her motivation wasn't built on bribes. It came from grit, support, structure, and belief in her strength. That's the kind of motivation we want to build in our kids, not for medals, but for life. As we wrap up, here's what I want you to take with you. Don't fear saying no to bribes. Don't underestimate your child's ability to learn. Speak with calm clarity, not force. Celebrate effort and recognize character. Trust that doing the right thing, even without a reward, matters. If this series has helped you rethink your approach to parenting, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We've got more coming, more stories, more strategies, and more support to help you raise confident, kind, and capable kids. If you're making this shift, remember, change takes time. Progress is enough. You're not raising a robot who performs on command. You're raising a person, one who will grow up knowing that kindness, effort, and responsibility are worth it, even without a prize. Thanks for spending time with me. You've